Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to Oddly Satisfying, the place that we all just come to fulfill our little cravings of just satisfying videos. And I mean, really, it's fair enough considering all of these videos just to help soothe the soul. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then, starting right off with my cake that I just popped out of the cake tin. Do not break it all, it feels good. Oh, look at that, it's just so smooth and perfect. You know, usually you just get those little bits that are left over in the pan. Regardless of whether you actually put baking paper down or not, there's always just little bits that just kind of stick to the rest of the pan. Just absolutely ruin that perfect shape that this person's been able to achieve. But that is just unbelievable. Honestly, being so perfect, I reckon it kind of just confuses your mind, you know, because usually when a cake is that good, it just has to be the top, but that is just clearly the bottom. You know, you can see down here that there was all this kind of the real top, I don't know what to call it, beside the crust of the cake, and then they've just managed to get that perfectly brown sponge the rest of the way through. I mean, really, even though it is obviously satisfying to look at, I cannot imagine the satisfaction that you got when you actually just pulled the thing from the pan in the first place. I would have loved to have seen your reaction when your mind is blown just because you're able to pull these two things apart and just nothing was left behind. Yeah, all I can think about now is just what cake is it, and is it going to be ice, you know, because you almost just wouldn't want to ice it. It's just so perfect. You want to marvel in how perfect you'd be able to get it. But then again, if it is a cake that actually needs its icing because it's just going to be completely bland or dry, whatever, without it, then at least you have this photo to remember it by, you know. But hey, I guess now that you got this photo, you can just relish in the glory because you were able to do the impossible. And even though I can't exactly imagine you're going to be able to achieve this again, so every cake from now on is just going to be a disappointment, I guess at least if nothing else, you did get to experience a once-in-a-lifetime event. This perfect hexagram patch. Ooh, that is a serious hole. That looks like a bird hole. Oh no, I have no idea how these ever work, but it always just comes out so incredibly, and I have no idea how it actually ends up being that way. Oh, actually, it's going in a completely different route to what I expected. I thought they were going to kind of pull all the string together and it was just going to magically disappear, but this is very different. That is kind of just stitching up a hole with real kind of, well, I guess stitch. And look at that, as it all just kind of pulls itself in and you get all the curves, or not even curves, but just optical illusions of curves from just all the different lines in there. Yeah, I can 100% agree why this one needs to be on Oddly Satisfying. It is just satisfying the whole way through. You know, it actually seems as though it would have taken quite a while. Or maybe this person is actually just completely skilled and they just nail the kind of pinhole every single time. But hey, that certainly doesn't take away from any of the skill from knowing which one to do where and how to get that perfect line. I wish the play button wasn't over it, but you can just see all the kind of perfectly mirrored lines all the way across, you know. Really, you've just got so many axes of symmetry on this thing, it is insane. And really, I guess that's kind of surprising considering the fact that the actual thread is not kind of just linear, you know. It has a little bit of blue, it has a little bit of pink, and it kind of just chooses wherever it wants to go whenever it wants to do it. But even with that, you just don't even really end up noticing, so that is just one hell of a stitch. I mean, really, at that point, isn't it almost just embroidery with a hole in the middle? Because they have squished so much thread into that little star, and so it just gives that raised off the material kind of texture that embroidery does. And I'm sure whatever it is, whether it be embroidery or not, I have no doubts about the fact that this person wouldn't be able to create other magnificent patterns, whether it be stars of all different sizes and sides, or even just something random like your dog. I feel as though it's one of those times where it might not look very difficult, but in the end, to do it that well and get all the kind of points and everything just perfectly lined up and symmetrical, I reckon it would actually take a lot of finesse and actually a lot of time spent on the thing to actually get it right. This bread slicer. Oh, this is going to be some automated bread slicing. I've actually never seen how they actually kind of do automated bread slicing or even just kind of industrial bread slicing. I can't imagine that someone's just sitting there with a knife just, oh my goodness, whoa, that is a serious kind of circular sort of thing. Whoa, that is certainly a serious and efficient way to go about slicing your bread. I mean, it did get a little bit of a tooth mark in the end, but really, I guess maybe it's just thinking that 9 out of 10 people would never even touch the end of a toast. But no, really, that is just so fast and so efficient. And really, if that is the hard crust bread, that stuff is never easy to chop with a bread knife. You know, you just end up squashing it all. It's just generally really difficult to get through. Whereas this one, it just does it for you. Even so at the start, you're able to choose the thickness, for goodness sake. You know, where was it? Here we go. So you get to pick between thin, medium, and thick, I imagine. Wow, 17 mil bread. That's some serious kind of cafe style bread if I've ever heard of it. I mean, now I'm just curious about what country this video was filmed in, because I feel as though there is no way that a machine like that, regardless of however many safety systems they might have installed in this thing, there was just no way that any kind of Australian just public place is going to be allowed that. You know, some idiot's going to somehow manage to get their arm in there and then it's going to turn on somehow, and then I guess I'll leave the rest up to your imagination. But really, even though it would be a very unpleasant sight, you just go, oh my goodness, why have you just ruined it for the rest of us? Because really, just look how fast and efficient that is. That is so good. I can only think of one downside to this entire machine, and that's the fact that maybe kind of the insides of the bread that would have kind of remained fresh are now going to go stale a little bit quicker because they have been exposed to the air. But really, if you can kind of just blast through a loaf of bread like that, I'm sure you have no problems. And really, I reckon considering it's already cut, you're just going to be 10 times more likely to just even eat the thing, because you don't have to waste your time just getting out your knife and struggling to cut it up. No, you just kind of munch straight into the thing. It's great. So really, I guess we just have to thank the engineers for making such a marvelous machine, you know, because obviously some engineer was having a real problem every morning. They have to kind of slice out the bread and they went, you know what, I can make a solution to this. I'm going to basically make an inverted auto feed drop saw for bread. And hey, I guess they went out and did that exact thing, and I can't blame them for what they actually created. You know, that does a tremendous job of what it needs to be doing. So yeah, well, I guess we should just all thank the engineer for giving such a satisfying post and just making such a beautiful machine to look at. My husband posted this over in Humans Being Bros. Thought you might like it too. Neighbor saw us shoveling some at 1 AM and brought out the big guns for some snow removal. Whoa, that is a lot of snow. Why the hell are you shoveling all that snow at 1 AM? I have no idea, but where is this big gun? And I go, oh, there it is. Well, yeah, you can always rely on a trusty Bobcat to just kind of clean it up nice and quick, can't you? Look at that. It's just done in a jiffy. You can get your car out of there, no worries. Cleaned up in mere seconds, and no, I don't even think it was a time lapse. It was that fast. Really, I reckon what my favorite part about the entire post is the fact that your neighbor was up at 1 AM. For whatever reason you would need to leave at 1 a.m, I guess that's what it is, with the fact that your neighbor was up and kind of noticed that you were shoveling it, and then had the thought of mind to go, you know what, I have a bobcat, I'm just going to go over there, spend literally, like I said, 10 seconds just clearing out, and then it'll be sweet, you know, I can go straight back to bed. However, similar to the first post we saw, it does now kind of suck, considering the fact I can't imagine they're going to be there all the time, and unless you're very good friends with your neighbor, I can't imagine they're just going to be letting you borrow the bobcat whenever you need. Also, you definitely owe them one now. Without a bobcat, I have no idea how you ever be able to repay that kind of favor. So maybe, just maybe, you want to get a little bit of practice in with your shovel every now and again, just so you don't kind of lose your edge. But no, this post, as well as being satisfying, just gives me absolute hope for the world. You know, you see that person just coming out of nowhere in the middle of the night and just suddenly help out that neighbor. I can only imagine, not for any reason besides just wanting to help them out because they're clearly kind of struggling in the middle of the night. And so really, I reckon so many people could take a lesson from this person. You know, they obviously have the tools and equipment to help out. It's really, there's no skin off their back. And I can only imagine the relief from going from shoveling like that to suddenly just have a bobcat emerge and just kind of scoop the entire thing out in one go. I almost reckon it's more satisfying just having a person just emerge out of nowhere and just completely change your entire trajectory of the night. You know, you're going to be spending another half an hour just clearing all that out, and then all of a sudden your entire night shifted, and man, that would just be an absolutely amazing feeling. And really, for the neighbor, it would probably be quite a satisfying experience to just know that you helped that person out like that. This clock hitting midnight is oddly satisfying. Oh, all of these clocks are always so good, whether it kind of be massive kind of gyroscopic things or just simple numbers like this. Look, there we go. Look, here we go. 5, 1, let's watch it fall. Is it gonna fall? Yeah, look at that. It just all falls together in perfect unison. You know, even with all the different lengths of the bars, they all start and end at the exact same time. So all of them would have to have their own kind of custom programming and everything just to kind of perfectly fall now. However, I feel as though if I had a clock like this, it would just be dangerous. I feel as though I'd just never get anything done. I'd just be constantly staring at it going, whoa, where is it going to fall? Oh, there we go. You know, a clock's meant to tell you the time kind of quickly and easily. Just at a glance, you can just kind of have a look and then you go, oh, that's what the time is. And so really at this point, even though it does display the time, I almost feel as though it's an art piece more than anything. And really, I guess just once again, we have magnificent engineers and designers just coming up with these amazing, just oddly satisfying concepts for us to just gaze at for hours on end. As I said, I've seen plenty of these, and I think we've even seen plenty of these kind of just artwork clocks, but there is certainly something special about this one, just the way that, like I said, they all just fall in perfect unison, and then really just how perfectly and seamlessly it just kind of continues counting as though just nothing ever happened, you know? It didn't just completely Jenga itself and all fall down, no, it just kind of continues on as though nothing ever happened. And really, I've been staring at it for probably way too long, but the only thing I can think of now is just completely upscaling this and just having a massive New Year's countdown clock just like this. I mean, maybe that's exactly what this was modeled off, and if it wasn't, then that's just an absolutely golden opportunity, you know? So yeah, come on people that make those decisions, we want oddly satisfying New Year's countdown clocks, and I reckon this one is your perfect candidate. This guy's water drain pipe that I found on Insta. Do I fix it or did it fix itself? Actually, I feel as though I have seen this video. Yeah, look at that. It just goes perfectly into the little slot. It's honestly incredible that the metal has been able to be bent in that way, just so it manages to kind of creep in this area, and especially because it's been riveted right there, you know? I would have thought that that area is going to be the most flush, but obviously not, you know? For water can get in there, I mean, water can get in anywhere. But really, if it is that heavy going in there, then there is no way that you should be trying to fix that. I mean, I guess I don't know about the longevity of this, and especially in a big downpour, what would happen. I certainly can't imagine you're going to have all the water off your roof just kind of flowing down that little bit there. So maybe in the long term you want to do something about it, or maybe just when it actually does downpour, it just actually uses the real pump. Who knows? Either way, in its current state, there is no way that you should be fixing that. Like I said, it is obviously chosen the path of least resistance, so there is no way that you should be trying to mess with water like that, you know? Really, if humans should know one thing, that is that we shouldn't kind of mess with the path of water, or just nature in general. And if there's ever been a time kind of proving that statement right at my front door, it's definitely now, you know? Half of Sydney, if not New South Wales, is completely underwater at the moment, just because of this massive storm. There's absolutely thumping down water just everywhere. You know, some places have got 1,000 mils of rain. That is just absolutely insane. And so like I'm saying, I don't know if that downpipe would really be up to the task if that did happen. But look, you can see it's nice and sunny out. There is no worries there, you know. You're certainly not going to have any sudden downpour, so I'm sure you'll be fine. You'll get around to fixing it eventually. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you just kind of deal with this and then just kind of deal with it when the real rain hits. And hey, I guess as destructive as water can be in some circumstances, at the same time, it can be absolutely beautiful, whether that be a massive ocean or just kind of a little stream like this, even just laminar flow. All three of those things are absolutely satisfying to watch, and this is definitely no exception. Perfect watertight seal. Oh, look at that little face. We're going to have some kind of water tension or kind of meniscus. What is going to happen? I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. Come on now. What do we got? What do we got? Oh, he's just kind of relaxing. Wait a second. Oh, that was a little bit disappointing. I thought something was actually going to happen, you know, as though it's just going to go below the water level and we're just going to have, like I said, this perfect meniscus or just something that shows you it's completely watertight. You know, that almost looks like something I could do if I kind of just slip my hair back. Or really, I reckon it's more so to do with the stillness of the water, because if there was a little bit more water chop, he'd be kind of lapping up on his belly and whatnot. And so it certainly wouldn't look anywhere near as good having this perfect circle. And really, I guess to a certain extent, if we're kind of comparing water tightness, our skin is virtually just as watertight as that, you know. Obviously, in reality, it's a little bit different considering they have really thick fur and that's what's actually keeping him watertight. But really, I feel as though if I had water that still and I just kind of stuck my elbow in it, then I can certainly create a very similar effect. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's obviously a very cute fellow. But really, I don't know, in terms of being watertight and being satisfying, I don't know if this one really does it for me. I just wish there was a little bit more to this entire video and we just got to see some kind of hydrofoil or just something a little bit more extravagant than just chucking your head back. There was a quack in the ice. That kind of reminds me there's a snake in my boot, but oh my goodness, whoa, that's a lot of ducks, holy moly. But look at them all just kind of filing along. I can only imagine they actually use these ones too. Whether or not they make this trek every day or not, that is beside the point. That's quite weird. It's actually quite difficult to say quack while actually looking at ice. Your brain sees the ice and sees it crack and wants to say crack and not quack. It's like, oh, what the hell's going on here? But no, you see, this is what I wanted from the last post. You can obviously see that it's satisfying. It's one after another. They all just kind of meander down the little river they've made. But then also at the same time, it's just so cute and intelligent as well. What I'm wondering about now is if this was even ever a crack, or has it actually formed in a similar way to where animals just kind of walk over grass a whole bunch and then suddenly have a path? Because even though they virtually weigh nothing, I can only imagine that many little footsteps on the ice would just kind of compact it over time, and maybe even the warmth from their feet would just do a little bit towards carving a path. Really, I have no idea. Well, once again, I've got to try and call on the cold climate connoisseurs. Maybe you guys have a little bit more knowledge or even just experiencing this kind of thing and just know exactly what's going on here, but I certainly don't. And so I just get to experience this satisfying thing for the first time, you know, just like I said, one after another, just like a massive train of duck carriages, just one after another. They all follow each other, all to the next pond, and really, like I said, it is just both cute and satisfying all in one post. It is incredible. And so now finally for the top of the one for oddly satisfying, we have the way the frost highlights the sculpture. That is unreal. That looks like a video game rendering or something. My God, I just want to kind of zoom in a little bit. There we go. Look at that. Just the incredible texture that is just on everything, you know, from her hair to the beanie to even the skirt, or I don't know what that is, a blanket. And even over here where it is collected on the bags, that is just incredible. Wow. I mean, this sculpture by itself is an incredible piece, and you have to give all the credit to the artist, whether or not they thought about the frost or not. But man, does it add an entire extra layer. Well, I guess literally it adds a layer, but no, but it just adds an entire extra layer of texture and depth to the entire work. I honestly have barely anything to say about this one because it so clearly speaks for itself. And also, even though, like I said, it adds physical texture to the entire thing, it also kind of builds on the entire image of them huddling together because they're cold and whatnot. So yeah, that is an absolutely magnificent piece, and I wish I knew what it was made of. You know, maybe it's kind of a bronze, or I imagine it's a metal considering it's got cold enough to kind of just keep that frost just rock solid. So yeah, incredible detail in the entire thing from bottom to top. It is absolutely a magnificent thing. And then I'm gonna say it again, but just to add the entire layer of frost is just an incredible, it just transforms it into an entirely different beast. But anyway, speaking of, that is going to do it for the top of the month for oddly satisfying. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to do the YouTube and look at things down below. Let me know if you did have a favorite post or not. Other than that, you know, we see awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now, or maybe even just want to consider subscribing so you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.